Hello, welcome to the March edition of The Parish Line, a production of CGov, the Calcasieu Parish Government Channel, about the events, programs, and policies of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. On this month's program, we'll look at plans to educate Calcasieu residents about how to deal with coyotes, learn the answers to frequently asked questions about the new FEMA flood zone maps, and say so long to another important parish employee who recently retired. First, the Calcasieu Parish Public Library System is using local celebrities to promote reading in Calcasieu. Police jurors received a special presentation from Library Director Michael Sawyer at their last regular meeting.
The American Library Association is responsible for producing read posters showing national heroes, authors, and celebrities promoting books. The Calcasieu Parish Public Library recognizes that local officials are looked up to in the community.
We recognize that you became police jurors because you wanted to improve the quality of life in Calcasieu Parish. No doubt that you had to make some challenging decisions over the years.
Months ago, Calcasieu police jurors were asked to choose their favorite book to post for a picture. Some of the jurors even chose the same book.
I brought the novel The Godfather by Mario Puzo. Told a good story of a family and combination with business. Even though it was a crime business, it was a good story.
Times were hard and people struggled to make a living, and it's just that time of the growth of the United States just fascinates me.
Well, I'm a Willie Nelson fan, obviously, and I have been for a very long time. And Willie's is an American icon. I think everybody should read this book.
The name of the book is Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. And so many times we get all tied up in the small stuff. But the truth is, it's the really big picture that we need to be focusing on. Family, friends, life, and not get involved in all the static of the world.
While some jurors chose adult books, many chose their favorite childhood classics.
I have Oh the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss, and I taught school for many years, and this is one of my favorite books for my students because it really prepares you for life by telling you the ups and downs that you may encounter, and that you're okay to go those different places.
Fine reading right there. Old Yellow, one of my favorite. I tell you, it'll make you pet your dog when you go home.
I always enjoyed reading The Boxcar Children when I was young, and it was about a group of kids who, they lost their family when they were very young, and as a family they went out and just made life on their own and did the best they could, and really had a lot of great story behind it.
Library Director Michael Sawyer presented the posters at the last regular meeting.
Tonight, the library would like to do a special presentation. You have supported the library system over the years and helped make this one of the finest in the country. We would like to show you our appreciation for your support.
Now the read posters hang on the library walls to promote the importance of reading, something the police jury easily agrees with.
Reading is a way to expand your mind and expose yourself to new things that you might not otherwise be exposed to.
Not only books, but anything that you read, the paper, technical manuals at work, everything broadens your horizon in a lot of different ways.
Well, I think that just about everything that's ever happened has been put in print, and by reading things we can avoid things sometimes that we don't want to get involved in, and yet know by the guidance of the books some things that we ought to be doing.
Because I think it gives kids an understanding of what it is that they can do in life and how they can be successful, which I started from a very young age in reading this, and I think I've turned out to be pretty good.
For the Parish Line, I'm Jessica Conrad.
The read posters are hanging at each Calcasieu branch library. The parish has launched a new campaign to help residents deal with the ongoing issue of coyotes and other outlaw quadrupeds. Police Jury's Animal Services Department has established a new coyote hotline, and StopCoyotes.com is a new website within cppj.net that can give residents tips on a wide variety of issues relating to coyotes.
There's a lot of really good information. It will, obviously tell you about our hotline to where you can call in and what to do. It also gives a lot of good information on identifying coyotes, making sure that the animals that you're seeing are coyotes. What people can do is to try to deter them from coming into their yards and out of their neighborhoods. Gives you little homemade tips on things you can do with household items.
Animal Services announced the new resources at a press conference earlier this month. It's in response to numerous citizen complaints and sightings of coyotes around Calcasieu Parish.
The tracking's been going really well. That's predominantly what we have the hotline for. Is so even if it's little things as hearing them, seeing them, we can, every time we get a call, we log it into the computer. We have a map here with a locator on it, and we pinpoint every call, and they're color-coded according to if they're sightings, if they just hear them, or if, you know, there's an actual incident with a person or a pet or a property. And that way we can really get a hold on where they are, where they have dens located, and that's the most important thing. So if we can find out where a bunch of them live, then we can go in and fix the problem and try to help out. And because sometimes they're scattered, but if we get a good idea of how many are out there, then we can get a good grasp on what we need to do.
One of the reasons coyotes have become an increasing nuisance is that they are frequently being encountered in highly populated areas. A coyote attacked a small dog and bit the dog's owner in this neighborhood within the city limits in South Lake Charles last year.
Yeah, they're definitely everywhere. We get more calls from, you know, inside the city because obviously people aren't more used to seeing them, you know, running down Ryan Street or McNeese Street, things like that. And we get less calls, you know, further out in the parish because people are kind of gotten used to seeing them pass by, so they tend to not call. But we know we have a lot of them being seen a little bit more because there's a lot of construction going on and different wooded areas getting knocked down. So, you know, when they get knocked down, they've got to have somewhere to go. I mean, usually they stay in their wooded area, but as soon as that's gone, you're going to see them scatter and try to find shelter and looking for food and things like that. So, you know, it's going to be seen a lot more, and the more we move and destroy their homes, then definitely the more we're going to see them.
Parish officials believe the best solution to the problem is to inform residents of ways to deal with coyotes. They hope the hotline and the website will give Calcasieu citizens the resources they need to make a difference.
Where we can get a major dent in it is for the human and coyote conflicts. We can pretty much eliminate that. If everybody works together and knows what to do, and that's part of what the website is for, is to educate people. If they can know what to do when they see one as far as scaring them away, and, you know, if there's a problem in their area, to not leave the food out or the garbage out and litter and things like that, we can really, really make a big difference. They won't come around.
Hunting or trapping coyotes may sometimes be necessary. Animal Services suggests checking with them before attempting hunting or trapping to learn the proper rules. Shooting coyotes is not legal within city limits. You're watching the Parish Line, a production of CGov, the Calcasieu Parish Government Channel, about the events, programs, and policies of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. The Calcasieu Parish Housing Counseling Agency is now offering a new feature to its homeowners classes. Molly Morgan explains.
The Housing Counseling Agency has added a new dimension to their free first-time homeowner classes. Calcasieu Parish Housing Counseling Agency Program Coordinator Deborah Tate tells us more.
We added a workshop, which is a home maintenance workshop where we have partnered with Lowe's to bring to our first-time home buyers, and also to our clients that own their home at this particular time can also attend this workshop. It's going to be a 2-hour workshop that we'll be doing on a Saturday, and we will hold these classes on a quarterly basis.
Learning simple, everyday household repairs will be at the top of the list.
We'll have like how to change out pipes, you know, PVC pipes, also how to change out faucets, kitchen and bathroom faucet, the commodes, ceramic tile, how to hang blinds, inside casing and outside casing. So it's going to be a little bit of everything, you know. We'll do it at different times though, of course.
Homeowners can expect hands-on experience.
Everything is hands-on for them, so they'll be able to learn right then and there. You know, it's a lot of fun. We really enjoyed it this past weekend, hands-on, and I feel like they learned a lot. They came out of it, you know, knowing things that they didn't know before, so it's very exciting.
There are all kinds of repair problems that can happen around your home.
The hot water is leaking. That's usually the number one problem. And what we do is we show them how to take the faucet apart and change out the parts inside so it's not leaking anymore. Another one is that the toilet is leaking, And so we'll do exactly the same thing. We'll take the toilet apart, put some new parts in there, and toilet's ready to go again. Also, the last thing I'm going to go over today is some of the drainage problems. Like in the kitchen sink, you dump too much oil and grease down that kitchen sink, it clogs it up permanently. I'm going to show you how to change the traps out and get that working good.
For children who would like to become skilled builders, Devin Bertrand conducts a free kids clinic that's open to the public.
Today we're doing a kids clinic, just basically teaching kids building skills. They have pre-drilled little kits, and you just line up the nail holes, and it just teaches them kind of hand-eye coordination, and gets children interested in building and learning how to do building projects in general.
To register for the homeowners and home maintenance classes, visit the Parish website at www.cppj.net or call Deborah Tate at 337-721-3577. For the Parish Line, I'm Molly Morgan.
The next homeowners class will be held on Saturday, April 9th and Tuesday, April 12th, and the home maintenance class is scheduled for Saturday, April 16th. All classes are free. With the new FEMA flood zone maps now in effect, residents have numerous questions concerning what this means to them. J.P. Booth sits down with the Planning and Zoning Department to answer all of your frequently asked flood zone questions.
After the new FEMA flood maps went into effect, many residents suddenly found themselves in a special flood hazard area, or surprisingly taken out of one. But how did all this come about, and what does it mean to you as a property owner? Permit Supervisor Dana Guidry sits down to discuss the questions that the residents have been asking.
We, as a community, the parish, the local government, are the ones that wanted the changes. This actually started over 6-7 years ago. When our last set of maps came out, it was in 1998. Not all of the areas of Calcasieu Parish had changed at that point, so we still had areas out there that dated back to 1988 in some areas. Then we got the municipalities on board with us, and because of increased development over a course of 8-10 years, or even longer for some of our municipalities dating back to 1978, different drainage events and whatnot that take place, they were it prompted us to want to change the flood maps. We had to hold several different public meetings, one in particular held at the Civic Center, where we had the preliminary map data open to the public. We had people come in and view the maps. We also had computers set up to show their particular area that they were concerned in, and could basically voice their concerns about if their properties were changing and and whatnot. Their FEMA people were there. We also had to advertise in the newspaper. This is a requirement as part of the preliminary draft period. So it was advertised in the newspaper. Those were ways that we at least were trying to get the information out that the maps were changing. And then in January of this year, we sent over 2,500 letters to residents whose properties had changed from a non-flood risk to a high flood risk, or a low risk to a high risk, which has prompted some feedback. As now that the maps have become effective, you've got more mortgage companies and lending institutions that are picking up on it, and so they're requiring certain documentation to be able to complete loans or to be able to process the paperwork. Of course, those that were going from a flood hazard area to a non-flood hazard area are quite excited about that. And that is just basically through the course of time, development or whatnot in the area, or better drainage, where the parish has done drainage studies and helped those channels open. Some were taken out of the high-risk areas. Of course, those people are all excited about that, and you can't blame them for flood insurance reasons. Those that did change to a flood hazard area, we've had a little bit of feedback in the way that they say their property has never flooded, and they just don't understand the reason why. And I have to go back to, everything that has gone on up to this point, the reasons why we prompted the flood map change in the first place. We just felt that certain areas were more at risk for flooding. If the citizen feels that they just should not be in that flood hazard area, there are ways that you can get out of it, so to speak. There are 2 applications that you can file. One is called a LOMA, which is a letter of map amendment, and a letter of map revision. They're both different. The LOMA is free of charge. There is certain criteria that you have to meet. Your natural grade elevation has to be at or above the said elevation that's on the flood map. And you can apply for it. It usually takes about 6 to 8 weeks. The low MAR, however, which is the revision, means that you have placed fill on your property to build it to that certain elevation, but there is a fee involved for that, $425. So there are a few ways that you can get out of it. However, we always recommend that you still carry flood insurance. Even though the LOMA may take you out, it is still advisable that you carry flood insurance, but you would be able to get it at a reduced rate, of course. If you are in a high-risk zone, you are required by law, if you have a federally backed mortgage or loan, okay? So you have to pay flood insurance at whatever premium rate they're charging. However, if the opposite is true and you're going from a high risk to a low risk zone, and let's say we have a Hurricane Ike that comes through. It was basically more of a water event than a wind event like Rita. People flooded. Even in those non-flood hazard areas, people flooded. And those that had flood insurance were grateful that they did. Our community participates in the National Flood Insurance Program, and we do have what's called a community rating system that is somewhat similar to, say, your fire ratings for your fire districts. Whereas if your fire rating is a certain number, then you get reduced rates on your insurance. The same is true through flood insurance, because we participate in that community rating system for flood insurance. We also provide reduced rates to our citizens. So currently it's at 10%, and the parish is working on getting that reduced even further down, hopefully to a Class 7, that will get 15% discount on flood insurance.
For the Parish Line, I'm J.P. Booth.
To find out more about the maps or to see if a property is in a flood zone, you can visit the interactive GIS map found on the Calcasieu Parish website. The police jury has lost another long-time, high-profile employee to retirement. Margaret Higgins tells us about one director who was retired after many years of service.
Human Resource Director Cheryl Heiser retired from the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. She was recently honored at the February 3rd meeting.
I'm very pleased tonight to join the police jury in recognizing Cheryl Heiser for her outstanding career with the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. Cheryl is retiring after 32 years of distinguished service with the parish.
It's been a pleasure, my 6+ years of being here, getting to know you, and I just want to thank you for your 32 years of service. It means a lot. So, it's been great.
In the last 3 years, I just want to reiterate one of your comments: professionalism by you and your staff, and leadership on down. So that professionalism, it starts at the top. And I just want you to know that I thought that was very important, and your staff represents you well, and they do a great job. You've done a great job. Thank you for your service.
12 years that I've been here, just to turn it over to y'all. If somebody comes to us for a job opportunity, we can get them an interview, and with one phone call to you, we could usually get an interview, and I appreciate what you did with those folks. Some of them got hired, and some of them didn't, but you've always been the utmost professional when it came to that type of business. Thank you, and we're going to sincerely miss you. Thank you, Cheryl.
Heiser shares her memories of how her career began.
I came to work for the police jury for the CETA program, the federally funded employment and training program. I started as an assistant planner, and I think 2 years later I became the director, and I stayed there for 19 years. And then 13 years ago I was offered the Human Resources Director job, and I accepted it, and I said I had no idea what I was really getting into with HR. And I've been here 13 years, so that adds up to a total of 32 years I've been with the police jury.
She admits her position as Human Resource Director was challenging but rewarding.
Every day you're dealing with issues and employees and things like that, and I mean, I guess you just kind of churn out the work, and then, you know, at some point, I mean, I've had some people send some emails to me today to say, you know, Cheryl, you helped me get my foot in the door, and now they're a supervisor and they love their job. And so, I mean, you kind of mix that in, you know, some of that, and then, you know, when you finish your career and some people that you didn't think really you had an impact on come back and tell you, I really appreciate it. I mean, it kind of makes it all worthwhile.
Although her many years with the police jury was enjoyable, Heiser looks forward to the next chapter of her life.
I'm looking forward to catching up on my scrapbooking that I haven't done in 2 or 3 years. Looking forward to the spring morning when I can just walk out in my backyard and sit by my pool all day and not have to be in this office. Just things like that, simple stuff, slowing down, things I haven't been able to do. Catch up on clutter in my house I've never been able to do. Just take it a day at a time and just enjoy life and my family more.
Many of her friends and co-workers were on hand to wish her well during the retirement celebration.
With the changes in the HR business, particularly over the last decade or so, and maybe a little bit further than that, I can say without any hesitation and without any reservation that I would not have wanted to have the job that I had without you having the job that you had. There were so many times, particularly over the last 10 years or so, that the burden on my shoulders would have been so much greater had your shoulders not supported some of those issues in ways that very few people, I think, could have handled them in that fashion. And so for that, I thank you for your service here. I think the people of this parish owe you a great debt of thanks for the work that you did, and I thank you also for your friendship. Thank you, Cheryl.
I'd just like to say thanks to Cheryl, not only for the utmost professionalism with which she handled her responsibilities, but for her friendship and the times that we've shared together. I will always treasure them.
On behalf of the HR staff and to all of the employees that you've helped over the last 32 years of committed service to the police jury, thank you.
For the Parish Line, I'm Margaret Higgins.
Heiser says she will miss seeing the many friends she's made while working for the police jury, but knows she has left the Human Resources Department in good hands. That's the March edition of the Parish Line. Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like details on any of the stories on this month's program, or to watch the Parish Line on the web, go to cppj.net.